So we're getting ready for Shabbat, and the Ben Ish Chai and the laws of Shabbat says, preparation for Shabbat is very important. It's a very big mitzvah. We spoke about it before. But another time, so there's the preparation in dibur, machshava, dibur, and maaseh, in thoughtfulness, in speech, and in action. And part of like, for example, in thoughtfulness is that you prepare yourself to buy things for Shabbat, lichvot Shabbat, for the honor of Shabbat. In speech, it's getting ready for Shabbat, reading the parasha before Shabbat, maybe with Rashi, Shnai Mikra Targum, reading the Chuk L'Israel. In maaseh, in preparations, of course, getting our house ready. But he also says over here that Izaher le'ached begadim nekim v'tovim lichvot Shabbat. We should have special begadim for Shabbat, clothing that's for Shabbat. Obviously, of course, clean clothing and so on. But begadim yuchadim, special clothing for Shabbat. That our clothing of Shabbat shouldn't be the same as our weekday clothing. Now, sometimes if you're rushing to synagogue and you couldn't for whatever reason, then of course there are occurrences where kind of are beyond a person's control. But according to what we know here is that we should not share the same clothing. We should designate special begadim for Shabbat. According to the Ben Ish Chai, he also says that we shouldn't wear black clothing on Shabbat. Not everyone is particular about that. On Yom Tov you may, on Shabbat better not to, because not to have black clothing on Shabbat. Another very interesting halakha is that, of course, Shabbat begins just before Shkia, but just before sunset. But there's another halakha that we may not do melacha, constructive labor, from the time of Mincha Ktana. What is Mincha Ktana? An hour and 15 minutes before Shkia. So let's say Shabbat is at 6:15. From 5 o'clock, we stop renovations, painting, sewing, cutting, doing our lawn, different. That's it. We refrain from that already from that, and it's called real melacha. Prakmatya, which is business or we're still selling a few things and so on and so forth. That is allowed, but most people, and first of all, it's an amazing suggestion. I mean, it's an halacha, but it's also it gets us away from what we're doing, so we could be prepared and available to really get into Shabbat. It takes time to get home, to shower, to make sure everything is on, off, where you need it, where you want it, everything else like that. But also, that is one of the halachot. So preparing for Shabbat is also a thing. And finally, asur likba'ah b'Shabbat seuda gdola shel mishteh she'eno ragil ba bimei hachol. Before Shabbat, we shouldn't have a big meal, so that we can look forward to the meal of Shabbat. Now, it's only a meal that eno ragil ba bimei hachol, that you're normally not used to have. But of course, if it's a meal that you need to have something to eat during the day, of course you should, and that's something that allowed. And this comes to exclude maybe brit milah or a different suda like that you have an occasion that's allowed. But otherwise, these halachot portray and show us that the preparation for Shabbat has so much value and koach and bracha. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen. And mincha this afternoon and Kabbalat Shabbat, 5:30 p.m. All right.